that bargaining tool is necessary possibly to deal with that one issue, I think is mute. The reality is, and for the people of Georgia, the great concern should be, will they be represented in that conference committee? We are about to hear the three conferees, but by rule, those conferees are appointed solely by the president. And they will be three members. Listen to this, folks, especially you in the minority. There will be three members who voted in the majority. There will not be a minority vote, I promise you, a minority voice in that conference committee. There will not be a voice of reason for the taxpayers of Georgia that reflect the minority position that this Senate had on the transportation bill. This is an opportunity to solidify a very small voice for the taxpayers of Georgia. This body has already indicated its willingness to increase the gas tax on Georgia at current rates of 60%. This body has voted for a 60% increase on fuel taxes based on current fuel costs. The House sent us one with a 100% increase. I tell you what, the taxpayers of Georgia, the people of Georgia are looking for relief. And I hope we have a conference committee that will include their voice. This is our one chance to make sure part of that voice is heard. I strongly encourage you to support the motion. Let us hold fast to a position not only this Senate has already agreed to, but the House agreed to also. Let's take that variable off the table, and then let's negotiate in good faith for the taxpayers and all the people of Georgia with a conference committee that will include their voice. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
There are no further speakers. Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th.
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. President, isn't it true that if we invoke this rule as it is stated, that this sets a precedence for other conference committees?
I think that's what has been stated by, the Senator from 31st.
And just one more question, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that we're in actuality debating bills twice? That this would potentially bog down the system, and when you get to the 39th and 40th day, we're basically shutting down the system on conference committees. Is that not true?
Senator knows from which she speaks. The question is on, Chair recognizes Senator from the 31st.
So, some of those who are opposed to the amendment has told you, you'll know what's in the bills. Yet we just voted on final passage of two bills. You don't know what you did. Now I voted for them because I trusted the senator that came down here and stood in the well. And I did look back at the bills a bit. I had a level of confidence, but I will tell you that level of confidence won't be here on day 40. It's fleeting very quickly. Now, somebody said that this is similar to engrossment. This is not engrossment. Engrossment says you can't change anything about the bill. This motion says you can change anything about the bill except for one section. Quite the opposite of engrossment. There has been some fear expressed. Oh, that we've never done this before. It's been done before. Let me tell you what has never been done before. Never before in the history of my time here, and I believe that this will be safe in the history of Georgia, have we voted for as large a tax increase as we voted for in House Bill 170. Now, many of you say, and you've told me, I support your intent here, that this big, massive company shouldn't continue to get tax credits, tax benefits that the average Georgian doesn't get. All you got to do, this is not earth-shattering, this is not a high risk. Both bodies has voted on it. The very neat thing about this rule is we vote on this, we bind the hands of both the conferees from both bodies, because that group across the hall that's having consternation passing some bills that many of you think are very important, they can draft conference committee reports all day long. All we're doing is saying our three conferees shall not return with a bill that doesn't include the elimination of a major tax break for a company that is Georgia-based, that we bailed out when they were going under for the third time and have gotten addicted to that tax credit. We do a lot of foolish things, folks, but I don't know how in the world you can go home and explain to folks that you just voted to continue to give a tax credit to at least one of the very largest companies in the state and probably the most profitable country in the state. I ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
The senator has moved. All of those in favor of the senator from the 31st motion will rise, stand, and be counted if you are in favor of the senator from the 31st motion. Reverse. It's too late. It's already, the votes are already counted. I'm about to announce them right here. The yeas are 13 and the nays are 33, and the motion has failed. The senator has moved that the Senate adhere to the Senate, we adhere to the Senate's position and appoint conferees. All those in, is there objection? Without objection, the conferees will be the senator from the 51st, senator from the 19th, and the senator from the 48th. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 26.
On the motion, read the announcements.
The Rules Committee will meet upon adjournment in room 450 of the Capitol. The 2:30 Insurance and Labor Committee meeting will be held in room 125 of the Capitol. The 2:30 Public Safety Committee meeting will be held in room 310 of CLOB. The 2:30 Education and Youth Committee meeting will be held in room 307 of CLOB. The 3:30 p.m. Judiciary Committee meeting will be held in 310 of CLOB. The 3:30 Finance Committee meeting will be held in the Capitol Mezzanine, room 1. The 4:30 State Institutions and Property Committee meeting will be held in room 125 of the Capitol. The 4:30 Judiciary Non-Civil Committee meeting will be held in room 307 of CLOB. The 4:30 p.m. 4:30 p.m. Transportation Committee meeting will be held in room 450 of the Capitol. The 5:30 p.m. Regulated Industries and Utilities Committee meeting will be held in room 310 of CLOB, and the 5:30 p.m. State and Local Governmental Operations Committee meeting will be held in the Capitol Mezzanine, room 1. Mr. President, this completes the order.
Senator from the 53rd is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Rules meeting right after we adjourn here, and want to tell people to remember to tell your House members they need to come and ask for their bill. They need to work the committee members to get their bill on the floor of the Senate. We've got some big days coming up with long hours, so be prepared. Thank you, Mr. President.
The Majority Leader has moved that the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, March 26th. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. Ayes clearly have it. We stand adjourned.